This sign means A. 4-lane traffic ahead. B. Divided highway ahead. C. 2-way traffic ahead. D. Intersection ahead. C. 2-way traffic ahead. This sign warns of 2-way traffic ahead. Don't follow other cars too closely because A. You may not see the road between the cars. B. You may not have time to stop if the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly. C. You may not see the vehicle's turn signals. D. You may not see the other vehicle's brake lights. B. You may not have time to stop if the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly. If you follow too closely and the vehicle in front of you slows or stops suddenly, you may not have enough time to avoid a collision. Smoking and preparing to smoke while driving. A. Do not affect driving abilities. B. Help maintain driver alertness. C. Are distracting activities. D. Are not distracting activities. When should you return to your previous lane while completing a pass? A. When you sense that you are far enough ahead of the other vehicle. B. When the other vehicle signals for you to return to the lane. C. When you can see the other vehicle's headlights in your rearview mirror. D. When you are directly next to the other vehicle. C. When you can see the other vehicle's headlights in your rearview mirror. Use your right turn signal after passing and before returning to your previous lane. Return to the right lane when you can see the entire vehicle you have just passed in your rearview mirror.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
Stop lines are solid white lines painted across traffic lanes. A. In curves and on hills. B. Next to churches and schools. C. At intersections and pedestrian crosswalks. D. On freeway on-ramps. C. At intersections and pedestrian crosswalks. Stop lines are solid white lines painted across traffic lanes at intersections and pedestrian crosswalks. They indicate the exact location at which approaching drivers must stop. When a traffic signal light turns green, you should A. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians. B. Accelerate as quickly as possible. C. Back up slowly. D. Not move until another driver waves you on. A. Yield the right-of-way to pedestrians. A green light tells you that you can go through the intersection. However, you must first yield the right-of-way to traffic and pedestrians who are still in the intersection. It is illegal to follow within. Fill in the blank of an emergency vehicle that is sounding its alarm. A. 1 mile. B. 1,000 feet. C. 750 feet. D. 500 feet. D. 500 feet. Make room for ambulances, fire trucks, police cars, and other emergency vehicles. It is unlawful to follow within 500 feet of any fire truck responding to a fire alarm. You are driving on a divided multi-lane highway and see or hear the signal of an approaching emergency vehicle. You should A. Disregard the signal if there are other lanes available for the emergency vehicle. B. Stop as quickly as you can. C. Slow down, move your vehicle to provide a clear path for the emergency vehicle, and stop. D. Increase your speed to get out of the way of the emergency vehicle. C. Slow down, move your vehicle to provide a clear path for the emergency vehicle, and stop. If you hear the siren or see the flashing lights of an emergency vehicle, you must slow down, provide a clear path for the vehicle, and stop. Don't try to outdrive the emergency vehicle. It is important to be alert to motorcycles because A. They are more difficult to see than cars. B. They rarely use their headlights. C. Motorcyclists are less skilled drivers than other motorists. D. All of the above. A. They are more difficult to see than cars. Motorcycles are smaller and harder to see than cars. Because of their size, they are easily hidden in a car's blind spot. It may be difficult to judge your distance to a motorcycle and difficult to tell how fast a motorcycle is moving, so always be alert and extra cautious when near a motorcyclist. Stress can affect your driving by A. Lowering your ability to focus on driving. B. Decreasing your chances of an accident. C. Causing you to fall asleep at the wheel. D. Making you more aware of others around you. A. Lowering your ability to focus on driving. Emotions can have a great effect on your driving ability. You may not be able to drive well if you are overly worried, excited, afraid, angry, or sad. Stress can lessen your concentration on the task of driving. It is better to wait to drive than to risk driving while you are emotionally unstable. There may be times when 10 miles per hour is too fast for drivers to safely operate their vehicles. A. True. B. False. A. True. Drive below the posted speed limit when safety demands it. Some traffic, weather, or visibility conditions may require you to drive as slowly as 10 miles per hour. This sign means A. Low clearance. B. Fines double in a work zone. C. No left turn. D. Do not block intersection. A. Low clearance. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign tells drivers that they are approaching an area with low clearance. Motorists are not required to yield to pedestrians if they are walking against the traffic light. A. True. B. False. B. False. You must always yield the right-of-way to pedestrians. Be aware of the possibility that pedestrians may misjudge traffic signals and cross against a light. When approaching a steady yellow traffic light, drivers should A. Accelerate to avoid a red light. B. Continue driving, as they have the right-of-way. C. Slow to a stop, unless they are already within the intersection. D. Check to see what the cars next to them are doing. C. Slow to a stop, unless they are already within the intersection. A steady yellow traffic light indicates that a red light is about to appear. Stop unless you are already within the intersection. Increasing your vehicle's speed. A. Increases your field of vision. B. Decreases your field of vision. C. Makes it easier to see cross traffic. D. Has no effect on your field of vision. B. Decreases your field of vision. The faster you drive, the smaller your field of vision becomes. As your speed increases and your field of vision decreases, you must be extra alert to potential hazards. When approaching a railroad crossing that has no warning signals such as electric flashing lights or gates, a driver should slow down, look, and listen. A. True. B. False. A. True. If a railroad crossing has no warning devices or only a crossbuck sign, you should slow down, look in both directions of the track, and listen for a train or railroad equipment. Only proceed with caution across the tracks when it is safe to do so. This road sign means A. Side road. B. Keep to the side indicated by the arrow. C. You may drive in the left lane. D. You have the right of way. B. Keep to the side indicated by the arrow. This is a keep right sign. It indicates that a traffic island, median, or barrier is ahead and that drivers must keep to the right of it. To avoid being in a truck or bus driver's blind spot, you should A. Never pass them. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. C. Flash your lights at them. D. Sound your horn. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. Because a large vehicle, such as a truck or bus, has large blind spots to its sides and rear, avoid driving alongside such a vehicle and do not tailgate one. You are driving in the left lane and want to move into the right lane. You should A. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your left shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. C. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over both shoulders for other vehicles before changing lanes. D. Check your mirrors, signal, and change lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. When changing lanes, you should check your vehicle's blind spots by looking over your shoulder in the direction that you want to move. Always check your mirrors and turn on your directional signal before beginning a lane change. When driving to an unfamiliar area, you A. should depend on road signs to find your way. B. should plan your trip in advance. C. only have to know generally where your destination is. D. should always choose the most direct route. This sign means A. Trucks are permitted on an upcoming narrow bridge. B. The bridge ahead is open to one-way traffic only. C. The bridge ahead is wide enough for only one car at a time. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. D. The bridge ahead may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck. Warning signs are used to warn drivers about upcoming hazardous conditions and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that an upcoming bridge may be too narrow to meet or pass a truck and that they should be careful. Drivers may pass on a two-lane roadway marked with a single solid yellow line on their side of the center line. A. True. B. False. B. False. When there is a solid and a broken yellow line separating two lanes of traffic moving in opposite directions, a driver may pass only when the broken yellow line is nearest to the driver's lane. This road sign means A. Turn right after making a complete stop. B. Right turns are not permitted. C. Left turns are permitted. D. None of the above. B. Right turns are not permitted. Regulatory signs display laws that drivers must always obey. Right turns are not permitted where this sign is present. If a vehicle starts to skid on water, the driver should quickly apply the brakes. A. True. B. False. B. False. If a vehicle skids while hydroplaning, the driver should try to regain control of the vehicle. If that is not possible, the driver should release the accelerator and ride out the skid. The driver should not immediately apply the brakes. This sign means A. Crossroad ahead. B. Flagger ahead. C. Lane ends. D. Turn right or go straight. A. Crossroad ahead. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign alerts drivers to an upcoming intersection. This sign means A. Railroad crossing. B. One-way traffic. C. Limited parking. D. Playground ahead. A. Railroad crossing. Circular traffic signs indicate upcoming railroad crossings. This sign tells drivers that they are approaching a railroad crossing and should be looking for signs of an oncoming train. You may drink alcoholic beverages in a vehicle on a public highway. A. As long as you aren't driving. B. If you are riding in the back seat. C. If you are riding in the back of a pickup truck. D. Under no circumstances. D. Under no circumstances. It is against the law to consume or possess any alcoholic beverage while on a public road or sidewalk. Additionally, storing an open alcoholic beverage container in an area of a motor vehicle normally occupied by the driver or passenger is prohibited on any public road. You must stop at an intersection when you see A. Flashing red light. B. Steady yellow light. C. Yellow arrow. D. Flashing yellow light. A. Flashing red light. A flashing red traffic signal has the same meaning as a stop sign. At an intersection with a flashing red light, you must come to a complete stop, look both ways, and proceed only after the intersection is clear. When passing another vehicle, a driver should wait until the entire car they've just passed is visible in the rearview mirror before changing back into the right-hand lane. A. True. B. False. A. True. When passing, you should not return to your original lane until the entire vehicle you've just passed is visible in your rearview mirror. Drivers who have consumed alcohol before getting behind the wheel. A. Are always aware of the risks they are taking. B. Do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. C. Are better drivers because they are more careful than sober drivers. D. Have quicker reaction times. B. Do not have sufficient control over their bodies and minds or the vehicles being driven. Alcohol is a depressant that negatively affects judgment, vision, concentration, understanding of reality, and reaction time. It is never safe to consume alcohol in any amount before getting behind the wheel of a car. If an approaching train is near enough or going fast enough to be a danger, you must A. Slow down and proceed with caution. B. Not cross the tracks until the train has completely passed. C. Cross the tracks at your own risk. D. Find an alternative route across tracks. B. Not cross the tracks until the train has completely passed. You should look and listen for trains before crossing any railroad tracks. If an approaching train is near enough or going fast enough to be a danger, you cannot go across the tracks. This is true even if they have no signals or the signals are not working. This sign means A. Trucks under 18,000 pounds. Allowed. B. Hill ahead. C. Truck stop ahead. D. No trucks allowed. B. Hill ahead. This sign warns that there is a steep hill ahead. When parking uphill on a hill or incline with a curb. A. Turn your front wheels sharply toward the curb. B. Turn your front wheels slightly to the right. C. Turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. D. Keep your front wheels straight. C. Turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. To keep your vehicle from rolling into traffic when parked facing uphill, turn your front wheels sharply away from the curb. If you are parking uphill on a street that has no curb, turn the wheels sharply toward the edge of the road. If you need to stop quickly and your vehicle is not equipped with an anti-lock braking system (ABS), you should A. Hold down the brake pedal. B. Firmly pump your brakes. C. Lightly tap the brakes. D. Release the brake pedal. B. Firmly pump your brakes. Pumping the brakes is generally the best way to stop a car in an emergency. The car will stop quickly and you will also be able to continue steering. Blood alcohol content (BAC) depends on each of the following, except A. Your body weight. B. How much you drink. C. How much time passes between drinks. D. How physically fit you are. D. How physically fit you are. Your blood alcohol content (BAC) depends on how much alcohol you drink, how much time passes between drinks, and your weight. It is not affected by the type of alcoholic beverages you drink, your level of physical fitness, or how well you can hold your liquor. What is the meaning of this sign? A. The traffic signal ahead is displaying a red light. B. The traffic signal ahead is broken. C. The traffic signal ahead is displaying a green light. D. There is a traffic signal ahead. D. There is a traffic signal ahead. This sign indicates that there is a traffic signal at the intersection ahead. What are the colors of warning signs indicating upcoming hazards? A. Black letters or symbols on a white background. B. Black letters or symbols on a yellow background. C. White letters or symbols on a blue background. D. White letters or symbols on a green background. B. Black letters or symbols on a yellow background. Warning signs that indicate approaching hazards are usually yellow with black lettering or symbols. Warning signs in work zones are orange with black lettering or symbols. You may not park within. Fill in the blank. Of a railroad crossing. A. 15 feet. B. 25 feet. C. 40 feet. D. 50 feet. D. 50 feet. Drivers may not park within 50 feet of a railroad crossing. Park where drivers can clearly see your vehicle from both directions. When meeting a car with blinding headlights, you should A. Use your bright lights until the other vehicle dims theirs. B. Flash your lights on and off to warn the other driver. C. Dim your lights and then speed up to pass quickly. D. Look toward the right side of the road. D. Look toward the right side of the road. If a vehicle comes toward you with its high beams on, look away from the headlights and toward the right side of the road until the car has passed. This will keep you from being blinded. When you park uphill on a street with a curb. A. Keep the front wheel straight and set the parking brake. B. Turn the front wheels away from the curb. C. Turn the front wheels toward the curb. D. Turn the back wheels into the curb. B. Turn the front wheels away from the curb. When parking on an incline where there is a curb, you should turn your wheels sharply to the left, away from the curb. This way, if your brakes fail, your vehicle will not roll into traffic.